Welcome to the Bell 429 where I explain a quick video, hopefully, to show you the displays in Cockpit. First, switch on the battery, then it goes through its self-check and the displays come up and the Garmin comes up. Our voltage at the moment is 24 volts, so just on the ground power, so we can do this two ways. I'll go into the 412 plug-in menu and select GPU, and it comes up GPU, and we now got 28.5 volts. Right hand display. At the moment we're in flight mode. Top left you got outside temperature in degrees C. I'll show you later how to change this to Fahrenheit. Local time. The blue band will be where all your autopilot engagement and flight director engagement modes displays. Altitude select. Airspeed bug. Attitude indicator. At the moment we've got a crossbar, we can change this to delta. Again, I'll show you that in a bit. Altitude meter, millibar setting, we can change this to inches of mercury. Again, I'll show you. On the right hand side here, ADC. At the moment the right hand display is powered by the number 1 pitot-static system. If you switch to yellow, it's number 2. The left hand. So if we get a failure to the right, we can switch to the left. Same with attitude indicator. The heading doesn't change, it's always the same, it's just for show that. Alright, buttons down the right hand side. This rotary switch is the rotary input device, the RID. At the moment it's selected borrow. So if we change it, we change the borrow height settings. Press it, we go to standard 1013, and then we can change it. Next one up, decision height. So select that, it goes green. We can now select the rad out decision height. If I press, you get 200 feet. And you can go up or down. Next one up. This button, only when you're in arc mode you will see range, and you can adjust the range in the arc mode. Altitude select will change by 10 feet altitude. Down the barrel. On the left hand side we can select for the purple pointer, we can have VOR2, ADF2 or off. Same for this, we can have ADF1 pointer off. This selects your nav source, nav1, nav2 or FMS. More on that later when you're video for flying. Here we have whatever is selected on the FMS, and at the moment it's EGNO, which is where we are at the moment. Above that we got ground speed, and below it we got wind speed and direction. Down at the bottom, first to show you arc, well, that's the heading bug. At the moment, because we're in FMS, we can and it's a course. The course is adjusted down here, or you can assign a key. So for adjusting the right hand course, you can heading, you can either synchronize your heading, pressing it, or you see it synchronized, or adjust the heading. We'll go into arc mode, and we got arc, and we have map, approach, VOR. We have range, we can increase the range, and decrease. If we got the weather radar on here, at the moment it's off. We'll switch on terrain. That's the terrain radar. If you have Dr. Gluck's plug-in, you get the terrain, and if we go, we get the weather. I've set the weather as rough so you can see it on the display. And back to full. Comp mode gives you engine indications as well as a reduced flight mode, and your warnings. 4 lines of warnings. It automatically scrolls up as they disappear, with the higher priority on the top, which is red, then yellow. Here we see mint. When you're on the ground, you will have a mint flag here. We can press this button and we can go into mint. Earlier I said we could change the settings. So at the moment we're millibars, we can change that to inches of mercury. Once it's changed, every time you start, it will start up in that. So if you've changed it over to inches of mercury, next time you start up, it will be in inches. Change it back to millibar, and we can go down, change it from a cross pointer, press, change it to a delta. One more. Outside temperature, Fahrenheit or centigrade, and then weight displayed for fuel. At the moment we're in pounds. Press it, and we're in kilos. Each aircraft is set up. If it's a European aircraft, it would come up in kilograms. If it's a North American, it'll come up in pounds, so you don't have to adjust anything. Press comp, back to flight. That's the right hand display unit. Center display unit. At the moment I've configured this aircraft to show all options. So we've got comp, radar, which normally would be map, but because we get the bulb on the nose radar, and that's why we can select here, switch the weather off, terrain, weather. So if I go to map, we're in the map mode. Fixes, we can hide fixes, we have NDVs, VORs, airports, or we can show them by clicking. Changing the mode, select mode, green, and then rotate. Approach mode, VOR mode, or map. And then change the range. Right, and if I go on to terrain, we can see the terrain. Back to ECAS. At the moment it's displaying 10 lines. If you want to switch to 4, press the button and it goes to 4 lines, and you get a more representation of fuel and pressures. When you hit the start button, it automatically goes to 4 lines. If you want to go back to 10, just press the button. We'll see what radar does. Comp, gives you the same display as we had on the right hand display. This time there's no mint, and you have the same displays as we've seen earlier on. Back to ECAS, flare. Now this on my machine hits the frame rate, so I don't use it much. But this is the flare camera. If you have the nose camera underneath fitted, a flare option will come up here. Back to ECAS. Video. On aircraft like Air Zermatt, they have a small video camera at the front, so they can select video, and you can, at the moment it's normal, and you can zoom in using this button here, or normal. So that's the video when it comes up. Systems, click Systems. The only thing that here we got is fuel. You can check what fuel on each systems, all up weight. Back to Systems. Electric schematic. We can see what's on, what's not on. GPU's on, both generators are off. Internet connect and buzz down here, this switch here. As you can see, the left hand display is off, which is part of the left hand essentials, essential number 1. We can connect. We've connected the essential number 1 buzz, and you see the left hand display comes up. When you start the generators, this automatically happens, so you don't have to buzz internet override. Also, you can see in here we've got in connection override on, and we can switch it off. Or on. Carrying on with this, back to Systems. FCS, this is just for show. Later development, I hope to get some bits working in here. Log exceedance, again for show. Log data, again. Only thing here that will change is the aircraft number. All the rest is just a picture. Systems 2, again further development. None of these actually operate anything, but you can go back to System 1. Go back to ECAS. Elapsed time. If I switch on the Garmin 330, this elapsed time, and the elapsed time here on the center display, you can now start it there, and you can see it's running both, or you can stop and reset here. Both this one and here do the same job. Back to here, if I go to the, you see a declutter button, so later on when you see it, it's just hides once the generators are running, you can declutter. Okay, left hand display, same as the right hand, apart from when you go to comp you don't get a mint. It has all the same facilities. And the course button, the left hand course button, is controlled by this. And you can have independent needles, switch them off or on. Again, arc mode, we go to arc mode, and you got terrain. Here we get terrain on here, or weather. Right, the rest of the cockpit switches. Fuel pumps, so we'll go back here. As you can see, the fuel system roughly, the fuel system is based on the Bell 412 plug-in, which has 9 fuel tanks. On the Bell 429 we've only got 4 fuel tanks, so there's a bit of a muck around, and you will find that the fuel comes down at stages left right left right, apart from the last sort of 100 pounds when they both come down together and the warning lights will come on together. But make sure for this to happen that you have the forward transfer and the balance pump at normal. By default when you switch on they will be at normal, so make sure that these two, or your number 1 engine, will cut out first. This emergency buzz feed does nothing, it's just for show. The center DU emergency power does nothing. The buzz interconnection, as you see, we can override and change so that operates. Non-essential buzz, if we went back to the systems electric schematic, you can see we can emergency buzz and override and put it on. Battery relay doesn't do anything. Generator 1 and 2 reset on as normal. You see that start. Battery, as we've seen before. Hydraulics, we'll see this when we do a start up on the next video. We can test 1 and 2 off. Pitot system, we can switch left and right. Again, you'll see this on the start. On the center console now, we got TCAT display on map or off. Here we got weather, terrain or off, zoom in. Now these buttons here will only work if you've got that facility, like if you've got video or if you've got radar. Engine intake bypass, as you can see on here we got engine 1 bypass. When we start up, those should automatically go out. If you have a failure, you can switch the in and out the bypass valves. Going back, Garmin, we can input a code just by pressing whatever numbers. Press VFR, ident, alt, on mode, stopwatch. 8 and 9 buttons are used for dim and bright. One mention I didn't mention earlier is on the dim bright. You can dim and bright using the left hand knob on each. On the Garmin, I've set the dim bright here. You can brighten it and dim it. Not showing up very well at the moment, but it did work. ADF 1, ADF 2, pre-select standard. Autopilot controls. Later on the video, when I show the autopilot, more about the autopilot controls. Cargo hook, hoist, all explained later. And at the rear we got position lights, anti-call, scrubs, pulse, arm emergency lights, cabin lights. The rear buttons here don't do anything, nor do the knobs. On the collective, the searchlight, left right, on. Again here we have the YC trim. This is to do with the autopilot. Left and right increases, decreases selected speed. Up and down increases vertical speed. Landing light, RPM 104 auto used when taking off at max loads, and we set to 104 or hovering and landing. Throttle control. Now I've changed the throttle so that, alright, number one, we got a flight stop and an idle stop. That would be the start position. Move number two. So we're at the idle start. To get them back closed, we have to cycle the run switches. So we will run and then off, run and off. You find the throttle's going to cut off, and we're on the bottom stop. I've put in flashing warning lights here, and you can press and cancel the amber, but you can't cancel the red until you've cleared all reds. At the moment you can see I have rotor brake on. We look up and we can see the rotor brake is on. We've also got a vent lever here. We can forward or rear, open and close the vent. Warning lights, engine 1 and engine 2 out, standard when the engine is flamed out. RPM, at the moment it's out. Above 20% the light will come on, RPM, and then at 90% it goes out, and if you get over 107% it comes on again. Cautionary warning and main warning. When on single engine operation and you're in the yellow, you get a yellow limitation and a over torque warning light here. Alright, dimming the main instruments and panels. That's all lights out, full bright, dim, or you can set wherever you want. Engine controls. At the moment we're in auto, which is default. You can actually lift the bar up and switch to manual. Normally flown in auto, only if you have a failure would you switch in manual. Torque matching at the moment, or we can have temperature matching. Basically this makes no difference because the FADAC is controlled by the 412 plug-in. Engine switches set to run when we want to start, and then we start left or right. Fire here we have to select armed and then select main or reserve, and then press to put out the fire. We have a fire test button. Single engine training mode, I haven't done anything yet, but eventually this switch will give us a training mode for single engine. Float test switch does nothing, and the switch is over here. Normal, repeat it, no. So basically that's the cockpit. On the stick, the only one that's working is the cable cut, but I always program in the flight director decouple, but it would be this switch, but I've programmed it in on my joystick. So hopefully that explains a bit better. One more thing, on the previous versions I did have the tablet working, but at the moment the tablet is only for show, and it's for future development. I hope to have some map displays and things on there, and I've also made it easier to open and close the doors when you're in the front, just by clicking on them. Well, I hope that helps people out and explains as much as I can. Thank you. And any questions, you can always message me.